played at the Adelaide Oval, 326 for 8. That's what the hosts find themselves after having won the toss and made the decision to bat first. The team batting first in those batting friendly conditions would perhaps be happy. Maybe they could have been happier if this was 7 and not 8. But when you've got a batter like Stark on the crease, less of a bowler, more of a batter, he's been over the last couple of weeks, I would say. In fact, as a bowler as well, he's been very, very good. He's just upped his game. That makes him qualify for a team that I know that loves bowlers having to know how to wail the willow, Shane, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a certain former head coach or sorry, mentor of his who'd be very happy to have him in the national team. But unfortunately, that is not how international cricket works. There are no auctions.
Yeah, but that was just one side of the scorecard. Let's tell you how is it that England fared with the ball. Archer leading the charts, 3 wickets for him on the day, 2 wickets for Cars.
Brighton
If I'm
Cars, yeah.
2 wickets for Cars, 2 wickets for Will Jacks. Does the pitch have much for the bowlers? Perhaps not. It was bright and sunny, and yeah, you could see that a couple of batters from Australia who got their eye in were able to build on. Alex Carey, lapse of concentration so often that we see after you get to a landmark moment, that lapse of concentration happens and you end up giving away your wicket. That's exactly what happened with him. He was looking so good with his aggressive stroke play. Again, try to go on the leg side with that slog sweep, but this time edging the ball, and it was an easy grab for the keeper Will Jacks, breaking that partnership. But Australia will be happy with the decision to bat first, and to a large extent one can say they've gone ahead and justified that call as well.
Yeah, I think they'd want more runs because again, this is Australia, and I think usually if you're looking to bat first, you'll try and take as much advantage, get to about 400, 450. But I think considering at one point they were 94 for 4. From 94 for 4 to have reached 326 for 8, they'll take it. And the two men, obviously Alex Carey, we know quality test player at this point in time. The one surprising knockout which came at the best time was Usman Khawaja. Remember, he wasn't even said to be part of the 11. He was out of the 11. But a late injury concern for Steve Smith is basically what led to him coming back into the side. Batted at number 4, which is not really his usual position, but still ended up doing rather well. Got an 82. Bit unfortunate not to get his 100, but I think that innings played a very key role in them rebuilding to the extent that they did.
Usman Khwaja did exactly what the team expected him to. They were in a spot of bother. He was filling in the shoes of Steve Smith, whom you would have expected to stabilize the innings if Australia were in that sort of a position. He did that role very well. However, well-deserved 100 it looked like for him. He was looking in so much control, had the slog sweep, had the sweep as well, which he used to very good effect. And yeah, one would say that from that time where Australia were a bit precariously positioned, he ensured that not only did he stabilize the innings, but gave Australia a bit of an edge as well. However, that wicket I felt of his was perhaps against the run of play, and England would have been extremely happy with that particular dismissal because he was looking very good for 100 over there in at the Oval.
Absolutely, but I think what stabilized the innings massively was Carey's 100. Now, of course, you've got a Stark batting there. Let's see how it is that Stark and Leon, how many runs it is that they can add, because I think anything that they can add from here will be bonus runs.
Yeah.
You've reached the tail. After this, you've only got a Boland really to come in, and he's best at hanging around there. But we have seen that the Australian tail, beg pardon, can wag. So even if one of them can stick around, if England don't get Stark early, I fear they might be at least batting for another session. That's what my gut feeling tells me. If they don't get Stark, because again, Stark has gotten a half century during this series,
Yes, he
if
has.
memory serves me right. So if he can continue batting, I think he'll obviously cause some damage. You need to get him out, and after that, then you've got Boland and Lyon, both of whom are proper tail-ender batters. It's not to say they can't hang around, but that's pretty much the extent of it. They're only going to look to dig deep, maybe delay the inevitable for as long as they can.
Yeah, but when you see the team batting first get to about 300 plus, but the visitors pick up 8 wickets. How do you make your mind as to which team is happier at the moment? Anything around 350, I think the answer becomes very clear. But where do we see this now, Shane? Also, let's not forget, it looked like a very good wicket to bat on,
It
and
did.
I don't see it changing much on the second day.
No, I don't. I think you'll see any changes come from day 3 onwards potentially. I think because the pitch looked very good. I think it was some good bowling and some careless shots really from the Aussie batters that ended up leading to their downfall.
And can I add a couple of very good catches?
Yes.
Yes, there was one that was dropped in the slip cordon. I think it was Harry Brook who dropped that catch. Who the batter was, I don't recall at the moment. But otherwise, England, the team that has been guilty of dropping more catches than having taken them, would be happy, especially with those two dismissals that came off Archer. I think these were the two dismissals that happened in the first over after lunch. The first batter, I think, was Labuschagne, and the other wicket was that of Cam Green, but nothing there that the fielder had to do much. However, that a very good catch. I think it was Stokes who grabbed that one. And earlier as well, you saw with Jake Weatherald, his wicket, I think, was also down to a very good catch being taken. Oh, it was head. It was head. Archer bowling to him, and that was a very good catch being taken by Zach Crawley over there. So England, who've been rather missing in the field today, though. One catch dropped by them, but two absolute blinders taken by them.
And I think special shout out by the way to Cam Green. A day after getting sold for 25.2 crores, man goes and drops a silver duck. Very interesting. Maybe his head was turned.
What else then? So, as far as England are concerned, let's try and answer a few questions. Could there have been more that we could have seen of Ben Stokes with the ball?
Maybe. I think you could have seen
That's
more
one
of him.
thought that crossed my mind.
Yeah, because I mean, we know he has that ability to kind of conjure something up from out of nowhere. And that's one ability he has as a pace bowling all-rounder, is that he can get wickets. Lest we forget, even in the first test, it was his 5-wicket haul that really turned things around. But if I'm England now, look, the day is
Only
done.
momentarily.
Yeah, only momentarily. Their own batting after that was harakiri at best.
Yeah.
But that did give them hope, and I do think I was a little surprised not to see Stokes bowl himself as much. Maybe he also wants to preserve himself. Look, it's a long tour.
Series,
There's
yeah.
still 3 tests after. Like after this, there's still 2 more tests. So there's a lot of cricket still to be played, and I think you will see him bowl a fair bit tomorrow. I think tomorrow, once you see, I think if I'm England, I'm looking at it and saying, look, let's get them out ASAP. Anything under 350, very good for us, because then it gives us a chance at least of being within touching distance in this particular test match. I think they need to get them under 350. That's the only way you'll consider this being a successful bowling operation.
Yeah, otherwise, from an Australian standpoint, yes, as we said, a few batters getting their eye in, but not being able to put on a big score. 100 we've seen already. Khwaja unfortunately misses out on his 100, but did they really miss Steve Smith? Well, Khwaja really did exactly what a Steve Smith would have done, stabilize the innings, and he made sure that he became that senior statesman in the absence of a Steve Smith.
Absolutely. I think very good knock from him, especially considering that he would have come in from the cold. He was known that he wasn't going to be playing this test. And then from out of nowhere, Steve Smith picks up a bit of a niggle and you're suddenly drafted in. Technically, he's normally an opener. So with the fact that he could do that role as well as he did, yeah, I think a very good knock. And will silence some of the critics he's had. I don't think it will lead to an extended run for him. I probably doubt that. But I mean, once Smith is back, he slots in. But yeah, I think it's a good knock from the bench player in that sense.
Also, let's give you a quick update in case you missed out on it. Why Khwaja is playing and Steve Smith's not. Steve Smith has been ill for the last couple of days. He was gutted the moment he was told he's not going to be playing. He was at the nets when that news was given to him. He cut a very annoyed figure at that time. As you know, he likes playing for Australia. He likes playing in Adelaide. That wasn't to be the case, but because he was ill for the last couple of days, he was facing some nausea and some dizziness, and the doctors in the Australian side felt it was the best for him to rest it out and not take part in this particular match, but nothing serious, and so he should be seen in the MCG test, which will also be your Boxing Day test match now. Let's take a few questions before we call it quits.
I like Priyanshu's and he says that whenever people think Khwaja's career is over, he'll somehow play a great innings and extend his career. So I call it the Johnny Bairstow syndrome. He's another one who had that. He'll keep having questions. He's about to get dropped. He'll hit 100. And then you're reminded, you're like, oh, he can do this. But then he would continue dropping out, which is why I think eventually even England lost patience
A
with
quick
him.
word also, Shane, on the Centurion. He's been extremely good behind the stumps. There was a lot of praise on social media for the beautiful glove work. Very textbook he is behind the stumps, and those videos, everyone was raving about his work behind the stumps. Today as well, as a batter, he's really upped his game. I was looking at his numbers this year. I think it's his second century of the year. He got one in Gaul. Also has a couple of 50s against his name. Was good in that India series as well. Alex Carey, his stocks have really risen, and for the batter that you thought at one point he came with a lot of promise, was not being able to justify it. Now, though, it looks like he's completely come into his own and is making the headlines for the right reasons.
By the way, Priyanshu is also going to Ekana to watch the match later today, so he hopes to see an Abhishek show. I hope so too, but Ekana usually is one of those lot of trickier, studgier kind of wickets. So let's see how it goes.
I remember how Hardik Pandya was extremely unhappy the time that India had played. I think it was only the first or the second T20 international.
When he was captaining.
And Hardik was the captain, and India went on to win that match, I remember. But Hardik Pandya wasn't that pleased with the wicket, and he felt that there should have been a little more for the batters. And it has, truth be told, since then not been as bowler friendly as it used to be. But even if it is, I don't mind. I would want to see the bowlers have a little more than the batters. Always good to see that.
Exactly. Freaking awesome with an interesting stat says Australia haven't lost a test in Adelaide in the WTC cycle since it started. So that's 2019. And no visiting team has scored 300 plus in Adelaide in the first innings. It's not going to be easy. In fact, he also points out, he says that the scoring range usually does tend to go down. So first innings is the best time to bat in Adelaide, which is true. I think that's why Australia did choose to bat first. Because you're getting the best batting conditions now, and later on it will tend to get a little tougher.
True. Do we have any more comments?
We got a couple more. You can check on them. We got that. We took that one.
Okay.
Let's see. So yeah, Ritesh says that he thinks Alex Carey is an underrated batter. I agree. I don't think
That's
he's
exactly what
underrated.
we just said.
I think he's phenomenal. I think he's been proving that time and time again. Even last Ashes, he was very good with the bat and glove work. Lest we forget.
Johnny Bairstow would know very well.
Exactly. That's pretty much what ended his test career. So anyhow, we'll call it quits on this particular live stream. Thank you guys so much as always for joining us. We know we joined you a bit late, but we're also recovering from what was a very long day yesterday.
We're recovering from yesterday.
And building up to the evening.
Perhaps the day before as well. The last 2 days have
Last 2 days have been hectic.
rough on us.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't show up. The one who's not shown up well, he usually sits here. Look at that. This is Sidvi's desk, by the way.
Wait, let's make it more evident that it is in fact Sidvi's desk. See? The yellow chair, that is Sidvi's.
Don't tell him that we showed you his...
He's probably seeing right now. I know him. He's probably watching right now.
But anyway, jokes aside, yes, we have recovered. We are here, and we will be bringing you the coverage.
Why do you need to take this? I'm sorry.
You guys just know us as a team too well now. And that's exactly why we treat you as family members.
Aren't you
as
very
well.
clever, like that.
But yeah, don't forget, it's an India match day. We're rejuvenated, reignited. We'll be joining you in the evening for toss, followed by the mid and the post-match analysis. So stay tuned, tap that bell. We're going to be seeing you in the evening. Bye-bye.